soon. Just wanted to remind you of these two programs which are coming up. 15th October, 4-member Tibetan parliamentary delegation coming here in Delhi for 4 or 5 days, and they have chosen this as one venue to speak on why Tibet matters to India. So really, I think it would be very interesting, and of course a very vital topic, since it concerns so many things: His Holiness, Indian security, Tibetan plateau, ecological issues, dharma issues, so many things. The whole historical connection with, between India and Tibet is involved. So that could be very interesting, thought-provoking for people. So that's on the 15th of October at 6:30 in the evening. Then again 6:30 on the 15th November, that's another month ahead. Venerable Priyadarshi, Indian monk from Bihar, very illustrious, I would say, in many ways, who was a student of Venerable Sambhav Rinpoche, and who runs the Dalai Lama Center for Ethics at MIT in the United States. He will be teaching here on 4 immeasurables, Dhamma-vihars, love, compassion, equanimity, sympathetic joy. So that's our 15th November. Now, already up on the website is our program from the Monday, this coming Monday, to the 20th of October. That's already up on the website. And people will slowly be getting emails as well. We have to do the emails in sections. Just as a matter of interest, how many people here are on our email list? A lot of people. If you're not and you want to be, you can sign your name in the book at the back. We can't send all the emails out at once because it's too much of a block. So we do it in 3 sections on 3 separate days at the moment. So don't worry if your email doesn't come plenty at the same time. And I apologize for any inconvenience when it comes a day or 2 before. But we try to send it out. But the website is there, and that has the information. Yeah. Any questions about Bodhicitta or the program before Geshe comes down? We started by Lama Kuthumi, our teacher is Lama Zopan. We proudly can say we have nurtured some of the people who have then gone on to Tibet House. I won't mention any names. That's our maybe a mistaken pride. Anyway, it's wonderful that people can study so much in depth with a scholar and practitioner like Geshe. So that's wonderful. But yeah, if you want to come and say hello to us here as well, that's nice. I don't know when we'll have a bigger place, but for now this is where we are. Okay, thank you very much for coming, and hopefully today you will consume more of the edibles and drinkables before you leave. And to keep it from day to day, it's not that healthy, and please enjoy. Thank you. I think Geshe will be downstairs.
They are real flowers.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Okay, we'll start with the prayer. Let us invoke the enlightened beings like Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all enlightened beings. And let us also think about your true parents and your true signs, and all the family members around you. And imagine that you're leading this group, and everyone is happily joining you towards unfolding the potential, perfect potential that you have. Potential in terms of finally we see that everyone, whether we are human beings, animals, insects, or the devas, devis, so all the beings, what we aspire is what we want is we want happiness. What we shun is we shun miseries. So this is the reality. Knowing this reality, the miseries, eventually we should be able to know that the miseries, they all arise from the ignorance. And the best way by which to get at the ignorance is by introducing the light of the wisdom. So the light of the wisdom, if we really want to shun the miseries, we have to introduce the light of wisdom within yourself. And then what all of us seek is that we seek happiness. And the happiness, we can realize that there is nothing but something which arises from the feeling of love and affection. And this is again something for your own benefit, for your own happiness. If you really seek happiness, it is through cultivating the unconditional love towards others. So these are the two things, the wisdom and the compassion, unconditional love, through which we can acquire, we can seek to achieve what we seek. Okay, with that in mind, let us invoke all enlightened beings so that the love of the wisdom and the love of compassion within us are triggered, and that all the fears, miseries in your mind, they all are going to get off, and then you acquire the maximum happiness. Okay, with this in mind, let's start the prayer in Tibetan and then followed by in English. Sanye joda soge chonam na chanjo bardo dane gyatsu che dage chinso kebe sonam Tola benjir sanye dubare sho sanye joda soge chonam na chanjo bardo dane gyatsu che Dage jinso gebe sonam ge Tola benjir sanye dubare sho sanye joda soge chonam Chanjo bardo dane gyatsu che dage jinso gebe sonam ge Tola benjir sanye dubare sho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. And a mantra which we recited yesterday, and for us, this is a reminder for us to embrace the path to eradicate the causes of our miseries. Ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum desham tadhagato yavata desham jayu niruddha evam vati mashamane. So we'll say these 3 times together. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum desham tadhagato yavata Desham jayo nirodham evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava Edum Desham Tathagato Yavatat Desham Jayo Nirodha Evamati Mahashramanaye Swaha Om Yedharma Hedu Brahma Hetum Desham Tathagato Yavatat Desham Jayo Nirodha Evamati Mahashramanaye Swaha. Okay, next mantra is a mantra to cleanse the mental defilements so the treasure of happiness within yourself can be unfolded fully. And this is mantra of the Heart Sutra, Heart Sutra mantra. You recite this 7 times. And imagine that this is, of course, this is a very precious mantra. As we recite this, imagine the Buddha Shakyamuni so kindly exalts us. Thus, don't remain in the fears of samsara. Come towards ultimate happiness. And the visual, you hearing this melodious voice with Buddha Shakyamuni, you are being very inspired, and then you inform this to everyone, all the sentient beings. Look, this is what our very compassionate teacher Buddha Shakyamuni exalts us. Let us not remain in fears of samsara. Let us all go towards enlightenment. Let us all go towards the unfolding of the ultimate treasure of happiness with yourself. And everyone hearing what you're saying, they're so happy, they're so inspired, and they all come along with you towards the awakening by cleansing the mind of the mental defilements to unfold, to discover this ultimate treasure of happiness that exists within yourself by cleansing them in the 5 steps. Gate, para, samadhi, bodhi. So, okay, let's say this 7 times together. Deyata Om Gati Varagati Varasangati Bodhi Swaha Dhyata Om Gati Paragati Parasangati 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 Bodhi Swaha. Okay, so basically today's talk will have 3 parts. One is how to they cultivate this feeling of love and affection towards all others, including your near and dear ones, then the neutral beings, and the difficult people. 3. And then this is one part. Then number 2 is some question answers. Question answers pertaining to dealing with the challenges of life. And in most likelihood, I would have many things to learn from you, because my office, Tibet House office, this is where I meet with all the people of all kinds of people with difficulties, challenges, the facing tragedies and so forth. So that way I'm profoundly learning a lot from listening to others, and for sure I have a lot of things to learn from you. 1. And then more I'll be sharing this is part number 2. Then part 3 is, okay, so what is takeaway from this? What is takeaway? What little thing that we can actually do rather than, say, listening to the big, for example, say big physicist and a big neuroscientist, and then when the talk will finish, then what you take away is wow and finish. You just say, oh wow, this is a wonderful talk, and then you have nothing really at hand. So unlike that, something to take away, right? What do you take away? So say, I will share some ideas, and then you see out of this, whether you can take away 80%, 50%, 20%, 10%, 5%, 1%, or 0.01, right? Just see what something can be taken away, or for your own happiness, that your life will become easier. So this is the idea. So with that in mind, first let's do a 5 minutes breathing meditation. 5 minutes. Okay, it's taking so much time. Okay, the 5 minutes is going to be more like not really guided meditation. I'll give a very quick instruction as to what we should be meditating. The point is that those of us who already have familiarity with practice meditation, you can do that, whatever meditation that you'll be doing. Otherwise, those of us who are new, I'm going to give a very quick instruction, and that will be helpful. And the one thing that I'll share with you is that in case if you have not really received proper instruction in meditation, and there's a tendency for people nowadays, people to just, they go to YouTube and then open meditation, type meditation, and then something comes out, you meditate on that basis. That is quite risky and very scary. Very scary. So therefore, if you know what a standard meditation is, then later on you can go visit the YouTube, and you can easily figure out whether there's the standard one or this is just a fake one. You can easily identify that. Okay, for that matter, this meditation, what we're going to do is the 5 minutes, and it has 4 parts to the mind. One is the body posture. Posture is very important. Then number 2 is the focal point, what are we going to meditate on, number 2. Number 3 is what are the potential errors of meditation, and number 4, applying the remedies to overcome the errors. 4 points to keep in mind. Body posture, number 1, body posture. Sit cross-legged is fine, cross-legged. And if you're not good at it, don't worry. But if you consider doing this practice more on a daily basis, if you want to give a try, then to be in this full posture would be very helpful. So the cross-legged posture is where you put your left foot on your right leg and the right foot on your left leg. So this is a little difficult for those who are doing this for the first time. The point is that when you attempt this posture, for sure you will start to have pain. The moment you feel the pain, and slowly release your legs, and when the pain is gone, again you can bring them back. Okay, this is, and slowly you get used to it. Once you get used to it, you see that you sit cross-legged, it is more comfortable than other ones, right? Sitting cross-legged. And sitting cross-legged, you will see that your mind is much more alert and fresh, and you can stay in this state of the freshness for a longer duration of time. One. Then what is so important, mandatory, is body upright. Body upright. And in fact, this will be very good for us. Say, when I was younger, when I was, say, in my late teens, or say how I used to sit is like this, with my back, the hunch or back curve like this. This was my style of sitting. And I realized that many of the schools, young boys and girls, they sit like this. So this is a very bad habit of sitting. And in fact, we just learn how to sit upright, backbone upright, that the shoulder is spread like this. And if you have a backache problem, then you exempt it. You can lean against the support. Otherwise, particularly during the meditation, see that you don't lean against the support, right? If you have backache problem, it's not a problem. Then you can lean. It's better that you lean against the support if you have a backache problem. Okay. And then, say, when you're not meditating, still sitting upright is extremely important for you. In which case, you can lean against the support, still keep your body upright. Okay, this is number 2. Then number 3, your head tilted forward a little bit. Then number 4, eyes not closed. Eyes not closed. And some teachers, they just encourage the students to start meditating with the eyes closed. This is not advisable at all. It is not at all advisable. In fact, it is very dangerous. Very dangerous to start your practice with the eyes closed. Initially, with the eyes closed, it's more exciting. The clarity is, seems like there's a clarity coming. The focus is happening. With eyes open, in the first place, focus is not happening. Your mind is constantly being driven by your eyesight. So these are problems there. But in the long run, with the meditation, meditate with eyes open, then you can do meditation both ways, with eyes open as well as eyes closed. Whereas if you do with eyes closed, you will never learn how to do meditation with eyes open. In which case, say when you are not meditating, when you're with other people with eyes open, you cannot meditate. So, say 24 hours, within 24 hours, we see that we spend more time with eyes open, which means that we are not meditating. Whereas you learn how to do meditation with eyes open, then at times when you're in a group, say for a party, right, or for a group gathering. So there, when other people are chatting, you can meditate with eyes open. You can meditate, and other people may think that you are, what are you doing? Right? But if you keep your eyes closed, it's so weird, right? With eyes open, it's fine. Okay, so the eyes open is so important. For the half open, 4 to 5 degrees cast down, and the tip of the tongue should touch the upper palate, to avoid excessive accumulation of saliva in your mouth. And breathe naturally. Don't force your breath. Don't control your breath. Don't force your breath. And right hand on your left hand, and the 2 thumbs standing, touching at the tips, forming a triangle. Place the 2 hands on your laps in a restful state. Okay, this is your body posture. This is very important. And while you keep your body upright, the body should be flexible. It should be flexible. It should not be rigid. It shouldn't be rigid. It should be very flexible. Number 1. Number 2 is the focal point. What are you going to meditate then? So with this body posture, what are you going to meditate? So there, we visualize. Okay, there are so many versions of meditation. What you're going to do is a very simple one. visualize a very tiny dot, 1 mm or 2 mm in diameter, very tiny dot, white tiny dot between the nose and upper lip. While you focus mind there, multitasking, if you can, multitasking, count a breath, breathe in, breathe out, cycle 1, breathe in, breathe out, cycle 2. This is what you do for 5 minutes. For 5 minutes, in some cases, it can be like 60 rounds, 60 cycles. For other people, 80, 90, 100. And it should be, of course, it should not cross 100 or 110, 120. If it does, we need to go for a medical checkup because it can be a serious health issue, right? So generally speaking, it is going to be like 60 cycles through to like 100. This is the range. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. And then number 3 is identifying the errors of meditation. In the process of meditation, you're bound to have mistakes in meditation. What kind of mistakes? What kind of errors? There are 2 kinds. One is laxity and the other one is introspect, the excitement. Laxity meaning your mind becomes very heavy, your mind becomes lethargic, your mind becomes inserviceable, sloppy and skippy and sinking. And the other opposite is that the other side, the opposite is mental excitement. Your mind starts to scatter, wander here and there. These are the 2 potential errors of meditation. And should any of these 2 happen, what we should be doing? We go for number 4, apply the remedies to overcome the errors. What are the remedies? Twofold: introspection and mindfulness. Very general, very general. And of course, if you want to really specialize in these meditations, then you must seek a proper teacher. Say for excitement, how to get rid of this problem, and for laxity, what are the remedies to apply. There are many more remedies rather than very 2 generic remedies. The 2 generic remedies, the introspection and mindfulness. Introspection is to once in a while keep an eye on your mind to see if your mind is still meditating or is already distracted or in a relaxed state. Should you see that the mind is distracted or in a relaxed state, then apply the second remedy, which is mindfulness. Then with the mindfulness, bring the mind back to the intended object of the meditation. Okay, this is what we're going to do for 5 minutes. Ready? Okay. So from what we did from yesterday about the importance of the feeling of love and affection, the two things. Okay, I'm just wondering if there's anyone who was not here yesterday. Raise hands. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the number of few. Okay, so I will quickly give a recapitulation of what we did yesterday. What we all seek is we seek happiness, and what we all shun is miseries. This is the reality. Whether one is a scientist, whether one is a believer, whether one is a householder, whether it's a girl, boy, educated, uneducated, wealthy, poor, everyone. This is one thing which is common to all. We all seek happiness, we all shun miseries. This is reality. And I think 2010 or 2008, I don't remember too well. 2010, I think 2008, I think 2008. His Holiness the Dalai Lama was invited to give a talk, public talk, in Delhi University. And then at the end of the talk, during the questions session, there was a girl who stood up to ask a question. What is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of life? Okay, so it was so nice that this girl asked this question as to what's the meaning of life. Then His Holiness, without any hesitation, he said that we all hope for happiness. We all hope for happiness. So genuine happiness should be the meaning of life, because we all hope for happiness. Okay, so with this in mind, we all, unless and until somebody is driven with hopelessness. Otherwise, everybody should be seeking a meaning, giving a meaning to one's own life. I remember, and there's one girl in a center, and this girl, there was a tremendous pressure from her family, from the community, the pressure for her to get married. And she was already, I think, like late 20s. And then the amount of her obedience, respect for her parents is just unmatching, unparalleled. And to the extent that she told her mother, okay, it's fine, right? If you really push me to get married just to anyone, and then it's fine, I will make you happy. This is what she said. And she was telling this in front of me. I told her, no, this is very unwise. You also have a life. You are not a property. You are not the object. You have a life. Your parents, with the best of intention, whatever thoughts they contribute to them, or the social pressure, so they are advising you to do something. But it doesn't mean that your life is nothing. Your life is totally discounted. This is very unwise. You also have life. And then I told her that just be audacious. Tell your mother, tell your parents, if you really want me to get married, do one thing, right? You just lay down the conditions. Bring somebody who has this. Somebody who's very kind-hearted, who really appreciates the other person's wishes, and who is very loyal, not cheating, right? You also have a life. You are not a small piece of rock, or you are not like a small piece of cup. Right? You also have a life. This is so important. Why should you just give up your life? Why? It's totally pointless. So the point is that we are so lucky that we are in the era of freedom. We're in the era of liberation. Although in other ways there are problems, but still, compared to the time, Second World War, First World War, and in those times where the kingdoms, they were having wars, always waging wars against each other, and then the subjects, colonists, they really did not have any freedom at all to live happily, live peacefully. No, that possibility was not at all the case there. So today, relatively, we are very lucky, which means that why should we have to not seek a meaning? Why don't we seek a meaning to one's own life? Take the most out of one's life, or give a meaning to life. Why not? Okay. So for that, if you explore inwardly as to what's the meaning of your life, as a minimum of life. Okay, some people may say, okay, for me, I want to, let's say, I want to be a physicist, or I want to be a Nobel laureate. I don't know, people, wanting to become a Nobel laureate or seeking to become a Nobel laureate. It happens automatically for some rare gifted people. So otherwise, I want to become a professor in physics. I want to become a professor in sociology. I want to become, they say, artist. I want to become, let's say, a businessman or CEO or what do you call it? The
Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister, yes. And then the philanthropist, right, and whatnot. So people see this is so. From there, we see that there's a divergent of views, And then, if you ask the second question, why do you want to be a philanthropist? Why do you want the upgradation of your position, the rising position, or why you want money, why you want to be a politician, and so forth, then the answer will all come to the same point, that I think will make me happy. Right? So the point, deep down, we are all just saying, whether rich, poor, educated, uneducated, male, female, from this country, that country, that religion, this religion, we are all the same, we're all seeking happiness, we all shun miseries. Okay. If there is a meaning to one's life, what is the meaning? Is to give what you want. That is, to give the maximum happiness that you're seeking and to get rid of all the fears and miseries of life. If this much you can do, this is how wise you are, how kind you are to yourself. So from this, we can deduce. If somebody asks what's the meaning of life, as His Holiness puts it so well, we can say that be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. What do you want? You want happiness, give yourself happiness. What do you dislike? You dislike suffering, shun miseries. Right? Okay, but how to do that? Right? Some people say after like 20 years is what? 2048. Right? No, 2038. 2038, somebody may say that, okay, yes, I should be kind to myself. And I think like 20 years ago, to 2017 or 18, I don't remember that years too well. Once I went to Tushita Center, what is that, Tushita or something, center there. And then there was, a teacher came and he said that be kind to yourself. Yeah, I remember that, I should be kind to myself. Okay, I feel very tired today. I'm fed up with my family business so forth. All these fights happening there. And I should go to drink alcohol. So to be kind to myself, right? I should make myself happy, relief from all this family chaos, right? Okay, for a drink. Okay, you may be trying to give a meaning to your life with the first, be kind to yourself, but you have forgotten the second part. The second part is be wisely kind to yourself. It's not just be kind to yourself. This anybody can interpret any way they like. And the burglars will interpret it in their own ways. And the politicians will interpret it in their own ways. Second part is be wisely kind to yourself. It's not just that you should be kind to yourself, but be wisely kind to yourself. Which means that do those things which will actually give rise to happiness, and stop those things which will actually give rise to miseries. So this is the meaning of be wisely kind to yourself. Okay, this is how if you can design your life, say like those of us here in your 20s, okay, maybe 1, 2 who are even younger than 20s. Is there anyone younger than 20s? Okay, so like 20s, 30s, 40s, each one of us, we have a life. And this life should be, just make the most of this life. So for that matter, the point is, let us not forget this agenda. If you disagree with this, just see whether you truly disagree with this. Otherwise, saying any sensible person will agree with this. To be kind to yourself. The first one says to be kind to yourself, which means that give yourself the happiness that you are seeking and the free yourself from miseries which you shun. Number two, be wisely kind to yourself. Do those things which will actually give rise to happiness and stop those things which only give rise to miseries. So these two things constitute what the meaning of life is. Okay, the next. How to do that? How can I be wisely kind to myself? How can I embrace those things which will actually give rise to happiness? And what can I do to get rid of the miseries? So there, the mantra which we recited, Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava, Hetum Desham Kadagatu. Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava. All these phenomena of miseries and happiness, they don't arise randomly. They arise only by dependence on the causes and conditions. But of course, according to quantum physics, there is what is known as randomness, the concept of randomness, right? Okay, so about the free will, determinism, all these concepts are there. So this is a philosophical discussion which we can, discuss, of course, whenever the time permits. The point is that the miseries which we shun, they don't arise in us randomly. Happiness that we seek will never fall on us randomly. They all arise from respective causes. If you don't want the miseries, track the cause of miseries and get rid of these causes, and the miseries will automatically come to an end. However billions of poisonous leaves there are on the poisonous tree, unless you cut the root of the tree, however much you may try to remove the leaves one by one, after 20 days, after 10 days, again new leaves will grow. So it's truly pointless. For somebody who's wise, will cut the root, and even if you don't touch even a single leaf, poisonous leaf there, however millions of leaves there are, poisonous leaves they are growing, they'll all dry automatically. Right? So this is how we should be wisely kind to ourselves in terms of getting rid of the miseries which we shun. So, what is the cause of these miseries? The cause of the miseries, which initially what the Buddha taught is finally it is the ignorance. And then don't just leave it there. Don't just leave it there on the basis of the blind faith, believing what the Buddha said, right? So what the Buddha said, of course, is so precious. Meanwhile, subject this to analysis to see whether it's true. What the Buddha said is true. Right? For example, quantum physics. Quantum physics is a reality. Okay, if I say this, even Niels Bohr, if he says quantum physics is a reality, okay, yes, quantum physics is reality, quantum physics is reality. However many million times you may recite this line, quantum physics is reality, if somebody asks what is quantum physics, you have no answer. You don't know what quantum physics is. It doesn't mean that simply by saying, reciting, believing that is true, doesn't mean that you will get understanding of this. For the understanding of this, you have to study, reflect, and contemplate more. Likewise, what the Buddha said, that all miseries, they are rooted to ignorance, right? So we have to say analyze. We have to analyze, and I remember there was back in 2003, many of the youngsters, I think they are not born. Children not born? Born? Okay, crawling? Huh? School, already in school. Okay. So the point is that in 2003, I met a physicist, a brilliant physicist, brilliant. And I don't know how many of you can really, sit with him, have the coffee with him, have a conversation, right? It will not take even a minute, even the 2 seconds, 3 seconds, right? You just leave the coffee and you leave with him, right? You talk to him, just you utter a sentence and he'll say there's an internal contradiction, right? You cannot possibly have a conversation with him unless and until you can equally debate with him, right? Otherwise, he will just slap you right away. So that's internal contradiction. What's the point? Right? Okay. So what he said was that he said in this world, it is only physics which is education. And he's a physicist. Okay, how many of us we are from education? Raise hands with physics. Without physics, we are not educated, right? According to him. So how many of us we are educated with physics? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, several of you. Okay, those of us like me, we are unlucky ones according to him. We're not educated. I asked him, how come that you dare to say this? He said, of course, only physics education. Because only physics allows you to have a critical thinking. All others are imitation of the earlier teachers. Right? This is what I said. And then I told him, okay, if this thing, at least we are trying to give a reason. So if this is the reason, then listen to what the Buddha has to say. The Buddha said, the wise men, the wise people, and the monks, just as the goldsmith tests the purity of the gold by cutting, rubbing, and burning the gold, you should also examine my words and put them into practice, but not simply because you respect me. Then he remained silent for a few seconds. Then he said, oh, the Buddha must have been a great physicist. Right? Okay, so the point is that this should be the approach, that the analysis, what the Buddha said, we have to subject them to analysis. So, because of the constraint in time, we have just like now only about the next one hour. So I don't know how much I can cover during the 1 hour. The point is that the Buddha said that all these miseries which we shun, how to get rid of these miseries? Track the cause of the miseries, and you eventually, the miseries, they arise from the contaminated karmas, which in turn arise from afflictions, which in turn arise from to make it sharp, arise from ignorance. So self-grasping ignorance is at the root of all the miseries. For example, say in a dream, right? Say, okay, by the way, how many of you have no idea what dream is? You heard about it, but you have never dreamt in your life. Raise hands. Anyone? Okay, no. So, which means all of us, sometimes we meet with such people. Again, I have to change my example, right? So here, luckily, everyone knows what dream is. So say that you dream of, being chased by a ghost. Okay, by the way, how many of you in your life, at least once, had a dream of a ghost chasing you? Raise hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, how many of you never had a dream, a ghost chasing you in your dream? Okay, some nightmares. How many of you never had a nightmare in your dream? Any form of nightmare? Okay, you all have some experience with nightmare in the dream. Let's say that you have a nightmare in the dream. Or let's say nightmare of a ghost chasing you or a tiger chasing you. And oftentimes, when the ghost or tiger or some robbers that are chasing you, then we tend to fall. When you fall, it's very difficult to get up. You agree with me? When you fall, it's so difficult to get up. Okay, so say then the ghost is chasing you and you're running. Why are you running? Why you're running? Otherwise, he's going to harm me. Okay, so much of fear is there with you, right? Okay, and then you fall. You fall, and it's so difficult to get up. It's actually because when you sleep with your bent knees, right? So therefore, you find it so difficult to get up in the dream. Okay, now, so when you fall, the ghost will not stop, right? Ghost will not stop. Ghost continues to chase you, and then you're almost there in his claws, right? Okay, there. Then what is your feeling? Okay, what a pleasant now. Very pleasant. Or what's your feeling? Tell me. What's the feeling when he's about to get you? So much of fear. So much of fear, I says, right? And then what? Okay, now I'm done. Right? When you say, I'm done, right? Then your mother wakes you up. What's your feeling? Very relieved. Very relieved. Okay, this is an extremely important example. Extremely important example. Okay, why did you have a tremendous fear in the dream? What did you have the fear in the dream? Because of the fear, the ghost chasing you, right? Okay, and why you have you got such a relief when you wake up? Why? Anyone? Why did you have such a relief when you wake up, when the mother wakes you up?
Because it was unreal.
Because you realize that the ghost which was chasing me was not real. You're getting it? It's very good. Now the point is that in the dream, when you wake up, you realize that it was not real, it was a dream. It was the dream. The dream ghost was not real, the dream ghost was dream. So you realizing the dream ghost to be dream. Dream ghost to be not real, it was a dream. Is that a valid mind or this is ignorance? It's a valid mind. Okay. Now in the dream, you say you saw the dream ghost as real ghost in the dream. You see the dream ghost as real. So seeing the dream ghost as real, is this ignorance or this is wisdom? Ignorance. Okay. With the ignorance, the outcome is the fear in the dream. In the dream, you fail to see the dream ghost as dream. Instead you see it as real, which is ignorance. And the outcome is fear. And when you wake up, you realize that the dream ghost is not real. The dream ghost is dream. And the outcome is relief. You're getting it? Okay. Tell me, which of the two experiences, which of the two outcomes is what do you like? The relief or the fear? What do you want? Relief. You want to have the relief? The relief came from the fear, came from the ignorance or from the valid mind? Valid mind, the wisdom. So with the wisdom, this will give rise to the relief. Relief from your fears. So this is how, right? And this wisdom is the counterforce of the ignorance. How? In the dream you had the fear because of the ignorance. Seeing the dream goes as real, which is ignorance. So this ignorance and the wisdom which you cultivate when you wake up, these two are directly in opposition pertaining to the object of apprehension. Right? So these two things, look at the same object, the dream goes. In the dream you say that this is real. The same dream goes, when you wake up you say this is not real. You're getting it? So these two opposites, these two thoughts, the ignorance and the wisdom, these two are opposites with respect to the object of apprehension. What they apprehend the object to be like, one says that this dream ghost is real, one says that this dream ghost is not real. Right? So the ignorance is one which gives rise to fear, and the wisdom is the one which gives rise to the relief and the freedom from the fears. Okay, so this is one thing which is so important, and in this connection, then we come to see that, so this fear is the outcome of the ignorance, and ignorance is also cognitive in nature. Cognitive. It was cognitive meaning that it decides on what the object is. And the relief comes from the wisdom. That wisdom is also cognitive in nature, saying that, describing what the object is. But these two minds, these cognitive minds, ignorance and the wisdom, these two, how they describe the object is very opposite, very different. Then, because the description is very different, description given by these two minds are different, the outcome is very different. You're getting it? So therefore, in Buddhist context, according to the teachings of the Buddha, there's a tremendous emphasis in rectifying your perception, rectifying your cognitive mind from the invalid to the valid. This is tremendously emphasized. So now from this we see that the mind which says that, oh, this is a real ghost, and the mind which says, no, this is a dream ghost. So there, they look at the same object but differently, right? So how this dreaming mind sees the object, it describes the object. It is trying to say the reality there. So this reality, in scientific terms, it is known as ontological reality or the ontology. They are trying to explain the ontology. But how the ignorance sees the ontology is not the ontology. This is the opposite of the ontology, or it disrupts the ontology. Whereas the wisdom, it sees the ontology as it is. So what the wisdom sees is the ontological reality. Only when you discover the ontological reality, then the relief comes to you. On this basis, now, what is the ontological reality? What we are seeing? Are these the reality? Do they represent the reality? This is a question, right? So this is a question which was being posed by the philosophers since the time of, say, the Socrates in the West, and in India, like 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, this question is asked. What we are seeing, do they represent reality, right? And then the modern science came to being, say, with Newton coming to being, and then slowly there's a paradigm shift in physics from the Newtonian physics, classical Newtonian physics, to the quantum physics, and then relativity theory. So these two physics came to being, which is a total and different physics paradigm, very different from Newtonian physics. So then they're trying to see what the reality is. What the Newtonian physics says that this is reality, quantum physics and relativity theory says that this is not. What you see as a reality, what you describe as reality is not reality. Reality is very different. So there's paradigm shift that occurred in physics. Okay, then the philosophy, precisely with the advent of the Buddha's teachings, then the description of what the ontological reality is, it went into so deep to the extent that in 1st century AD, 2nd century AD, Nagarjuna came into being to explain what ontological reality is, to explain it, to make it clear of what the Buddha taught. And it's for this reason, because that this subject matter is so profound. The Buddha, immediately after becoming enlightened, he refrained from giving teachings for 49 days, informing people that this is a subject which is so profound that I don't find anybody who can understand this subject. So quantum physics, Niels Bohr, he rightly said that this subject, you studied it, and if you are not shocked by it, you have not understood it. So there's very close parallel in terms of the experience being shared. Now, one thing which I'd like to share with you, and the one slight difference between quantum physics and relativity, the Buddhist theory of what the ontological reality is. The slight difference is that quantum physics can shock you. Buddhist philosophy, emptiness, can also shock you, right? What we see doesn't represent the reality. Buddhist philosophy says this, quantum physics says this, and the Vedanta philosophy also says this. The difference is that with the quantum physics, it shocks you to see that what I'm seeing is not reality, we are something else. With the Buddhist philosophy, it shocks you what I'm seeing is not reality. It shocks you, plus it gives you goosebumps in your body. This is the difference. You're getting it? Shock you means you are lost. Oh, this is not the reality, right? Then what's the reality? Then what is all these things? So you are lost, right? What I'm seeing is not reality. Then what is all these things? What is all these things? No answer. But in Buddhist philosophy, you're shocked to discover the reality, and then you see that something is operating. Something, what I'm seeing is not the reality, but still something is operating, and that explanation is given so beautifully that it gives rise to the goosebumps on the body. You're getting it? So, with the shock, it deconstructs the reality. With the goosebumps, it reconstructs the reality. Right? So whereas with the physics, it deconstructs and it doesn't reconstruct. So it doesn't give rise to goosebumps. This is the difference. Okay. So with this is a part on how to get rid of your fears of life. The fears of life, they're all rooted to the ignorance. Ignorance. And to dismantle this ignorance is not an easy task. It requires one to know the ontological reality. To know the ontological reality, I would say that some people may feel it, okay, ontological reality, even the term is very complicated, forget about, let alone the exploring this. Never underestimate your potential. Even if somebody is not from science background, even if somebody is not from any kind of analytical studies background, you may be from our subject or whatever subject, still don't underestimate your potential. Everyone has the capacity to understand this subject. Although this subject is very complicated, but if you never give up, you keep doing this, you'll get it. You'll get it. Guaranteed you will get it. You'll get the answer. Right? The point is that the moment you give up, the moment you underestimate your potential, this is the greatest failure. Only you can fail yourself. Nobody else can fail you. Right? Only how will you fail yourself when you say that, no, I cannot do it. This is not my cup of tea. The moment you say this is the greatest failure, and it's a real failure. Whereas as long as you don't underestimate yourself, you just keep striving, nobody else, even if Albert Einstein comes and tells you are just a hopeless person, you cannot understand this concept. Right? And you don't need Albert Einstein, you meet any other ones from the best universities. You talk about emptiness, they will say, how many years you have studied emptiness? 10 years, 20 years. You say, no, I went to Tushita one hour. Right? They'll be shocked. What are you talking about? Okay, study about the color and definition of the color. Which means study something very basic. Start from there. Okay, people are there to discourage you. People are there to discourage you. Okay, you don't have to feel easily discouraged. Simply because of it. The point is, nobody can actually fail you. Even if these many, say the hundreds of the logicians, philosophers, they come to you and say that it's a very complicated topic, they may discourage you. But from your side, if you don't give up, nobody can fail you. Only you can fail you. So therefore, the point is, I would say that how many of you don't want suffering, tell me? Those who are the ones who don't want suffering, physicists or the art students? Right? If it is only the physicists who don't want the suffering, who don't want the fear, then it is their job to cultivate the wisdom, so to wake up from the sleep of ignorance. And the art student, they are free. They will have only the nice dreams all the time. Right? Dream of arts, dream of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, having a cup of tea with His Holiness, and so forth. Nice dreams all the time. But this is not the reality. Whether art students or science students, whether you're educated or uneducated, your dream can be any kind, right? You can have unpleasant dreams, very scary dreams, nightmares, anytime. Therefore, we are all just equal in not wanting suffering, not wanting fears. If you don't want the fears, the only answer left with you is to cultivate this wisdom. The wisdom to wake you up from the sleep of ignorance. So this is so precious. Okay, alongside, say, okay, now you're free from what? Free from the fears of life. For example, say, okay, this one example that I usually give is that if you are a physicist, say you are a mediocre physics professor, right? Mediocre physics professor, and suddenly your vice chancellor tells you that, okay, I'm very sorry, I should have informed you way ahead of time, but tomorrow there's a very urgent meeting, and then the person who's supposed to represent Indian physics, Indian physicist, right? He was sick, so you have to represent the India and all the best of the physics students, PhD physics students from all over the world. They're coming tomorrow. They're like 1,000 students of the year, right? So you have to give a lecture. Okay, what do you feel? Wow, what an honor for me, right? What an honor! Just all the big university students, they're coming, and what an honor. Would you feel that? Or what would you feel? Huh? Scared. Oh, it's a big honor for you. Otherwise, you will never get this chance, right? But you're scared. Why scared? Why scared? Raise your hand. Somebody raise your hands. Okay. Huh? Okay, because I'm a mediocre physicist, and amongst these 1,000 students, they are the future Nobel laureates in physics, right? It's a very scary experience. Okay, now you say, then you said, oh, it's a problem. Okay, now who's there? Albert Einstein, oh, he passed away many years ago. Then who else? Then there's Stephen Hawking, no, he passed away 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Oh, now Brian Gray. Oh, the Michio Kaku. Michio Kaku was a brilliant physicist. And Brian Gray, right? Okay, well, let's invite 2 of them, right? Okay, then you're relieved. So they come. Are they scared? No, they are not scared. Why? Because they're very confident with their knowledge. So with this knowledge, fear dissolves. Without the knowledge, the fear arises. You getting it? Okay, with the knowledge, the fear dissolves. Does it mean that Michio Kaku or the Brian Gray and so forth, they are very happy at home? Not sure. There may be so many complications at home. They may not be so happy at home. You getting it? Okay, so now fear is not there, but the person may not necessarily be too happy. So what do we want? What do we seek? The meaning of life. 2. What? I don't want fears, and I want the maximum happiness. 2, right? We are not satisfied just to have no fear. We also no fear, and life is so boring, right? I don't want life to be boring. I don't want to see myself as a very bored person, right? So I want full of life and full of happiness. So this happiness is another part. To get rid of the fears, it is the wisdom. To expand your happiness, it is the unconditional love, right? See, even though, say, your mother may be from a very remote village, or say the housewife, but she can be so happy, very kind to her children, and very kind, say they're full of love and affection, so happy. No education, but can be very happy. So what determines the person to have happiness is the feeling of love and affection. So here in Tibet House, because of the Nandal Master's course, Nandal Diploma course, they're all very specialized topics. I cannot really freely, today I'll talk about compassion, right? We cannot do that. So there's a very systematic topics to be studied there. So here, and when the Professor Ringaji requested if something can be done on compassion, I jumped to the idea. It was such a joy for me to think about, doing something on compassion. Because the wisdom body is so rich. It gives you so much confidence. It may not give you so much joy. The joy will be given rise to by the love and affection. So this is the ideal situation here. And okay, so with this, yesterday we talked a little bit, just the more like the opening of how the compassion is so instrumental in keeping ourselves happy. So what the wisdom does, to a great extent, even the compassion does, relieve you from the fears. For example, say somebody who is a very arrogant person, and who say maybe very wealthy, very educated, highly brilliant, respected, but arrogant. If you happen to be in front of that person, what is your impression? What feeling that you get?
Uneasy.
very uneasy, as though like as though what, strain, you feel what, as though like you are being bound by rope, very uneasy feeling comes to you, right? So whereas, say for example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, or suddenly all the Bodhicitta people here, you will get the souls here, you will get an audience, special audience, right? And then it's your first time, you will feel, oh, he's such a big celebrity of the world, highly respected, right? Okay, once I happen to be next to the Trump, right? Once I happen to be saying, I'm just creating a scenario. Once I happen to be in the Trump, I did not know that. When will I get a chance to get out? Right? Such a feeling is tense, feeling of tense feeling is there. Oh, His Holiness is also very high celebrity. I may get the same feeling, right? You go there, initially you will feel that, little tense, and then you sit with Him, He will listen to you. He will not talk to you, He will listen to you, right? If you don't talk, He'll start to talk. Where are you from, right? And say, for example, if you have a colored hair, you'll say, oh, nice hair, right? Then he'll start all the talks like this, nice hair, where did you get this color from, right? He'll start like this, right, where from? Then you feel as though like you're just at home, right? He'll just, then the moment you start talking, he will listen to you. Even if you have so many little important things to discuss, he will never start to, what is the point that, tell me what's the point, I don't have time, what's the point that you discuss with me. He will never say this, he will just listen to you. And then if you're carried away, your time is finished. And this Lord guy will tell you, okay, now I'm sorry, time out. Right? So you fail to discuss all the important points. Because you forgot that you're in front of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. You thought that you are in front of your friend. Right? This is who His Holiness the Dalai Lama is. You're getting it? Why you feel the ease there? Because of the sheer love and affection that He has towards us. Okay, so with this in mind, this is so precious, so precious. Now, moment you cultivate such a feeling of love and affection. So the philosopher's side, okay, that is a very different philosophy about emptiness, about the discrepancy between appearance and reality and so forth. That we're to delve into very separately, right? So what we're discussing here is this feeling of love and affection. How to cultivate this? How to cultivate this? Right? The moment if we're successful in cultivating this, then you see that you are at such a peace. You are extremely, extremely composed, extremely happy person, right? And then at times, any, say, the tragedies or any misfortune, the unfortunate things happen to you, you can see it very positively from a very different angle, right? Nothing can really stir your peace moment. It's amazing, right? Okay, so the question is that how can you really how can you really cultivate it? Whether or not there's something which we can cultivate this question. Answer is very much so yes. Answer is yes, very much so. It is yes. How? Okay, so let us, because we have just shot the end of the half an hour, 34 minutes. Okay, 30 minutes. Let us be very direct. Okay, let's say. Okay, say, how many of you, day one you were born on this earth? How many of you know your mother? Right? Okay, there may be one or two who lost their mother at a very early age. Otherwise, we all know mother. Okay, include myself. So, include myself, who lost my mother at a very early age, age 5. Otherwise, most of us, okay, anyone like me who lost their mother at a very young age? Okay, which means that you're all very lucky ones. You're very lucky ones. So let us say that the day one, okay, by the way, tell me, when we were, imagine, go back in time, literally try to do this. Because I don't want to ask you whether you love your mother now. because you already 20 plus. Right? 16 plus, 20 plus, then the complications arise. Okay, let's all go back in time. Let's all go back in time, 2018, 16, 15, 10, 8, 6. Okay, let's say age 6. Let's all go back in time. Say when you're age 6. Tell me, now we are on age 6, boys and girls. Okay, don't think who you are now. Don't think of yourself as a 6 girl or boy. Tell me how many you love your mother, raise your hands. As a age 6 boy or girl. How many of you don't want to be separated from mother even for a day? Raise your hands. Okay, good. Right now, how many of you don't want to be separated from your mother even for a day? Not really. Right? Okay, right? Okay, for a day, for 1 month, I have some office work, official trip. It's fine. Okay, my mother somehow she's all right. But when you are 6 years old, 5 years old, right? Or you have to go from the boarding school, right? 2 months away from your parents. No, your mind cannot digest this. You getting it? Tell me. This is who you are. As a 6 years old girl or boy, the relationship with your mother just could not imagine staying away from mother for even for a day. Okay, now go back in time. Age 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and day 1 you're born. Okay, go there. Day 1 you're born on the earth. Okay, how many you love your mother? Raise your hands. Day 1 you're born. Day 1. Day 1 you're born. Day 1. Oh, my mother, thank you for giving birth to me. Thank you. How many of you thank your mother? Day 1 you're born. Okay, how many you know your mother when you day 1 you're born? How many you love your mother day 1 you're born? No one. Don't forget it.
But
This.
Geshe, it's in the unconscious at that time. That connection is very much there. The symbiotic connection with the mother. So
the thing is, say
the child senses that it's
yes. Okay, I'm not too sure. Because this child, if there is the full awareness, if there are two, the mother who give the birth, and the nurse, and the nurse smiling, embracing, the child will lose the nurse. Right? Okay, so the point is that day 1 we are born, we don't have a feeling of love and affection towards the mother.
Day 1 is a bit of hypothetical issue.
Because the memory is not there, this is what I'm saying. Because the memory is not there, whoever comes to you, you like it.
No, Geshe, the smell of the mother, the child is very sensitive to that. The child can smell the mother.
Okay, so the point is, okay, let us say like this. Say the same child. Let's say the same child, say separate from the mother at the birth. Right? At the birth. So the point is that the child brain has to develop to be sensitive to the love and so forth. You're getting it? So the feelings, love and affection, these are very sophisticated part of the brain. These are working as a very sophisticated part of the brain. And the brain, the child, as a day 1 old child, the brain is not developed at all. It's at a very rudimentary, very gross stage of the development. So the brain keeps on developing, which means that the sensitivity to, for example, say, feeling of shame, feeling of guilt, and so forth, these were totally absent at the time of day 1, because that part of the brain is not developed as yet. So these part of the brain are absent in the, say, the animals. Feeling of shy, guilt, and so forth, they are absent. So these are the later part of the development, which is there with the human brain. Right? So therefore the point is the sophistication of brain is not there. The child brain keeps evolving, keeps growing. Now, at the age like 4 or 5, 4, 5, this child, you as a child, right? So whether it is your mother, whether it's your some grandmother, whether it's your sister, whether it's the maid, whoever truly took care of you with so much love and affection, then the feeling of love and affection, the bond is built at that point. Okay, tell me, let's say your mother. Generally speaking, I personally see that how I witness the world. I see that the feeling of the love and affection from the mother towards the child is something which is so extraordinary, which I cannot really explain as much. It's so beautiful. So let's say that we are age 5 and 6, where the love towards the mother is so intense and you are very vulnerable. You are so vulnerable and love that you feel towards your mother is so intense. This intense love was 100% missing when you were day one born. They may be love in a very rudimentary state, but that intense love was totally missing when you were day one old. Okay, my question to you is, this love and affection, how did it develop in you over 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? How did it develop? What contributed to this feeling of tremendous love and affection that came to you towards your mother? Anyone? Okay, this is what we have to explore. So there we have to take part in this. We have to take part in this exercise. Only then you will feel the weight of this practice. Okay, tell me. Just raise hands. Tell me. Somebody tell me.
Trust.
The feeling of trust. Yes.
It was attachment towards mother.
Okay, why not attachment to the maid or to the nurse or somebody else? Why to his mother? Okay, louder. Because you got the maximum care from the mother. You're getting it? You get the maximum care from the mother. Okay, so this love, feeling of love, do you agree with me or not? Feeling of love is a feeling of closeness. Do you agree with me or not? Feeling of love, in other words, we can say it's a feeling of closeness. Close feeling, yes, no? If you agree with me, right? Say, when does your mind become close to somebody? Huh? When does your mind become close to somebody? Do you have no experience? Huh? Okay, let's not think about when you're age 16, 17 like this. Think about younger than that. 16, 17, that's a complicated matter. Way before that. So when we are aged like say 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So there, how does this feeling of closeness towards the mother build up? How was it built up? As what she said, that you are aware that this is a person who cares me the most. Okay, tell me, how does this child know that this is a person who gives care to the child? How do you know that? Tell me. When it's 6, how do you know that this is a person who you call as mother is the one who gives you maximum care? What do you mean by giving care? Tell me, very quick.
She protects me.
She protects me. She feeds me. Okay, don't make it too unconditional love. Okay, no, make it more precise. So when you're hungry, she's just right there to feed you, right?
Take care of her needs.
Take care of the needs. You're getting it. What do you want? She provides you. Okay, so this is how the psyche works. Don't forget it. This is how the psyche of compassion works. This is how the psyche of the love works. When you see that somebody is there to give you what you need. What you need? You're getting it? What you need? Your mind feels close to that object. So the mother's the one who fulfills your needs. So therefore your mind becomes close to the mother. And you are so vulnerable. You are so vulnerable, you cannot do that yourself, and then others, they just ignore you, they even don't know who you are. But there's one person on the earth, in many cases two persons, two, mother and father, in some cases the mother, right? Always there, always there. Okay. On a train, there's many years ago, when I was in my, I think, the early 20s, on a train, I noticed, I just witnessed one scenario, very beautiful scenario. There was a father, mother, and a young son, right? And the mother sits right in the train, right at the corner of the seat, corner next to the window, which means she doesn't do anything, right? And the father was sitting next to her, so that in his required, she can jump on his feet, right? So the mother says, hey, I don't know, I forgot his name. Hey, I want this. Yes, he'll jump, right? Then he would open the bag. What next? Okay. Then this young boy, age maybe 6 or 7, he was a little naughty, right? Then he was a little mischievous. The father said, hey, and the boy is so alert like this, become like a statue. And then when the father is a little relaxed like this, the mother says that, hey, like this, the father becomes like a statue. What? What do you want? What do you want next? And then they say the mother, then the son feels sad, or he wants something. He dare not even look at the father. He would just go to complain to the mother, and the mother would just melt, and she would be ready to do whatever this boy would say. So it was so funny for me to see. There are only 3 people there, and the father was under the control of the mother. The mother was under control. The son, this young boy, the son was under control of his father, and the father was under control of the mother, and then the mother was under control of the son. Very interesting. Why the son was under control of the father? Because the son was afraid of the father. Why the father was under control of the mother, that I don't know. And why the mother was under control of the son, for sure, is because of the sheer love. It's so beautiful, it's so beautiful. You're getting it? So therefore the point is that when you feel that this is a person from whom I'm getting all what I need, the benefits that I'm seeking, I'm all getting from this person, then the mind is, according to Charles Darwin's evolutionary theory, don't forget it, Charles Darwin's evolutionary theory, which says that, finally, the survival of the fittest. You should be fit to survive. How to be fit? Right? You should be strong. How should you be strong? Get away all what you dislike. Acquire what you want to keep yourself strong. Right? Get those things which make you strong, get them. So what will help you to get them? Because of your attachment. And then those things which are threat to you, they can kill you. Dispel them. What will help them to dispel them? Anger. So Charles Darwin says, anger and attachment, these are the instincts given to you by evolutionary theory, by the law of evolution. Evolutionary law, it gives you these facilities for you to survive. You're getting it? So with this, it is a natural psychological effect, psychological law of how affection works. You're getting it? So now the point that I'm sharing with you here is that love and affection, okay, we should be extremely empirical in our thinking. Don't bring in anything which is non-empirical. Only bring it empirical. The empirical meaning something which is tangible, you can feel. You're getting it? not blind faith based. Empirical. The feeling is something which can feel. Right? So the thing is that love and affection grows on the basis of the principle of receiving benefits from somebody. This is how love and affection grows. You getting it? If you are convinced with this, then when the Buddha taught that we should have love and affection, unconditional love. We should have unconditional. What do you mean by unconditional? I'm sure we're going to have more question answers on this part, unconditional love. So what I would temporarily, for the time being, what I would say is unconditional love is where you love everyone, right? Without any condition laid, saying that, oh, you are not my mother, so therefore I don't care. You are not from you are not from the group, say from my religious group. You are not from my religious group, so you are not the object of my love and affection. So these are the conditions laid. Without the condition, whoever you are, whether you're Buddhists, whether you're Christians, Hindus, Muslims, Jains, whether you're a non-believer, and they say, even if you come from a group who actually destroys my group, right? Still you as a person, right? I love you. This is known as unconditional love. Okay, temporarily, this is how I would put it in this context. So later on we can have more discussion about this unconditional love. So this unconditional love, the example-wise, the best example, I'm not saying that the perfect example. So there's a difference between perfect example and the best example, right? I'm not doing for the perfect example because perfect example is so difficult to find. Mother's love, mother's say readiness to sacrifice her life right there on the spot for the young child, even that may not be unconditional love. Even that can be conditional love. But I would say this is the best example. It's not the perfect example, it's the best example. Right? So for the unconditional love, the best example would be the love the mother feels towards the child and the young child feels towards the mother. Okay, so from this, what we have deduced thus far, the mechanism of love and affection is that this love and affection it grows. It grows. The mechanism is that it grows when the person feels that you receive the maximum benefit from that person. Right? Particularly for somebody who did not have this love and affection, and slowly it builds up. How it builds up is on that principle. Whereas the mother's love towards the child, it works in a different mechanism. Meaning that it is like that this child is my property, mine. You're getting it? My property. There's something, again, it works in different mechanism. It's different. So how love and affection builds up, these two different. Mother's love and affection is not built up. It is already, the moment the child is born, it is already there, biologically it is given. Whereas for the child, it builds up. It's not biologically given right there. It builds up gradually. Okay. Now, if we are to cultivate unconditional love towards all beings, it cannot be like the mother's love, meaning that how the mother feels spontaneously, this tremendous love towards the child comes to you. No, it cannot be like this. It is to build up. It is to be built up. To build up this love and affection, the only mechanism is by feeling that I receive the maximum benefit from all the beings. You're getting it? If you could feel that, I receive the maximum benefit from the near and dear ones, the neutral beings, and the difficult people. If you literally feel that, your mind, there's nobody can stop your mind from flowing towards all beings. Flow your mind closer towards these beings. This is known as feeling close towards the beings. This is love and affection. Okay. This is what I like to share with you. Now, what could be the next question? What could be the next question? Don't just ask me, okay, what is this one doing now? Don't bring, the questions unrelated. Bring a related question. That's about what we've discovered, what we have covered. I'm saying what I'm saying now is that how we can cultivate the unconditional love towards all is by feeling the benefit from all the beings. Who are the all beings? Near and dear ones, the neutral beings, and the difficult beings, right? So you cannot think of anyone who does not, any being who does not fall under these three categories. So if you're able to cultivate the thought, the cognitive thought that each one of these three groups, they give me the maximum benefit, automatically your mind is a human psyche that your mind flows close towards all these three beings. That feeling, going closer towards these beings, is known as the love and affection. And then towards all beings, it becomes unconditional love and affection. Okay, what could be the next question? Tell me, anyone? Anyone? What could be the next question? So I said that this is how to do that, right? So what could be the next question? Any question?
There could be one, almost going backwards, if you like. What if you did not have a good experience with your parents? What if your mother beat you?
Okay, this is.
Then what you do?
Okay, so basically this will fall under the second category, say the question answer session, different category. What we have done is that, say, for somebody who had a very good experience with a mother, gave one, okay, I don't know who the mother is, no difference, right? And there may be, in a very some, the brain is not developed too much, but a little developed from there. So while in the mother's body, they could feel the body language of the mother, and the smell and so forth, but a very gross, very cursory form. Brain is not sophisticated, developed at that point, right? And then slowly we'll build up, and we grow the brain, and the feeling of love and affection starts building up, growing, right? So we take that as an example. Once we take that as an example, then we apply this to all, then it works perfectly well, not only with the near and dear ones, with the neutral beings, with difficult people, including for somebody who otherwise would be considered as unfortunate to have a mother who is not kind when you are young, right? Even that can be included in the third category. Okay, any question? This can potentially take us there. Yes, over there. Okay, so the point is, okay, if you could remember where I stopped, what I said is that you can feel love towards all beings if you know how all beings, what all beings, near and dear ones, neutral beings, and the different people, how you get the maximum benefit from all these three people. When you feel that, your mind will automatically flow towards all these three people. This is known as the unconditional love. This is what I said. So, this question, I've already taken the one step ahead, which means that unconditional love can be cultivated by reflecting on the merits, the benefits that I receive from all these three kinds of the people. This is what I said. Sorry? Okay, sometimes I don't understand the benefit. Anyone else? Any question? Tejala?
How to see that difficult people or neutral people benefit me the most?
Wonderful. This is the question. Question is, okay, from the near and dear ones, I just said the benefit is so obvious. I don't have to prove it. I don't have to analyze. But how can I know what kind of benefit I get from the neutral people? What kind of benefit that I get particularly from the difficult people? How can I get benefit? What benefit I get from them? I only get harm. Harm and benefit, these two are opposites. So how can I get, in what way I'm getting benefit, right? I'm only getting harm from the different people. If they give me benefit, they're not harming me. If they're not harming me, they're not difficult people. So definition different people is defeated. right? Okay, in what way I'm getting benefit from the different? So this is the key. This is the question. The question is, how can we reflect on the benefits that I get from the near and dear ones, from the neutral beings, and from the different people? You're getting it? It's so important. Okay, from the near and dear ones, I don't have to go through. We all know this. For somebody to know the benefits that we receive from the near and dear ones, this is so common, right? If you even cannot reflect on this, which means that it is time for you to go to mental hospital, right? This sometimes, it does happen oftentimes, where you receive the maximum benefit, love and affection from your mother, and then you always shout at your mother. Just make as you grow older, you freeze your mother, right? The mother seeing her children should be feeling happy. And then instead of that, the mother seeing the children, again, what time he may shout at me, right? Okay, so this is something we need to really think of. Okay, this is the one area that we need to work. Otherwise, it's a common sense. People really know how, the near and dear ones, they give you so much benefit. Now, to neutral beings, are precisely the different people. This is something which we need to work on. Okay. For that, first we have to know we have to have an intellectual knowledge. Once you have the intellectual knowledge, to imbibe this, we have to familiarize in this concept. Only then it will become natural in us. When you see different people, love and affection automatically flows. You intellectually know this, but if you don't practice it, your mind will not flow. When somebody asks you, you get the background of her? Yes. But your mind will behave in the same chronic form. How your mind is chronically disliking the people who we consider as difficult people. Okay, so the point is, how can we, in the first place, what kind of benefits we get from the neutral beings? What kind of benefits that we get from the difficult people, right? Okay, now what we're learning here is that the benefit that you get, okay, there are three kinds, near and dear ones, the neutral beings, and the difficult people. Okay, now the benefit that we get from the near and dear ones is something so obvious to be seen, so obvious. The benefit that you get from the neutral beings is more difficult to be seen. The benefit that you get from the difficult people is even more difficult to be seen, yet the good news is that the benefit that you get from your neutral beings is something which even your mother cannot give. Don't forget it. From that way, if you're able to reflect on the benefit that you get from the neutral beings, you are considered as a wise person. Right? Because this is something very difficult. Once you get it, this is even more powerful than the benefit that you get from your mother, which gives you so much, which makes you to have so much of feeling of love and affection towards your mother. The near and dear ones, the neutral beings, how they give you the benefit, that is far more excelling than the benefit that you get from your near and dear ones. Number two. Number three, the benefit that you get from the difficult people, to get this, to find this, to see this is even more difficult. So difficult to find it. And if you get it, you see that this benefit is something which nobody can give. Not your mother, not your father, not your near and dear ones, not even your teachers, not the neutral beings. Nobody can give this benefit which only your difficult people can give. If you can reflect on this, it's amazing, right? Why you feel this particular woman, this particular, say the lady, as so loving, my mother. You see that, I remember myself when I was at the age, maybe 12, age like 12, I overheard in two senior students, they were talking and said that Oh, there was the couple there, and the husband, they were living in this place, describing the place. And the husband is a little sad. And how these two senior students, they were describing this scenario. And the husband, it is my father. The description, a full description, I could figure out it's my father. And he said that this man, he said, I was like 12 years old, and we did not get this chance because I'm okay, TCB here, almost there, here, there. Okay, so they know, we can really freely go, say the what do you call it? We cannot cross the border of the school. What do you call it? Compound. The school boundary, yes. You cannot cross the school boundary easily. So therefore, no possibility for us to double, check like this. And then, just very spontaneously, the tears started to roll down my cheeks, sensing that it was my father who was saying. So look, this is the amount of the love and affection. Built over time, and because of which a spontaneous reaction is coming to you, right? Which is a very clear reflection of the enormity of love and affection that you feel to your father. So this is because of how this love was built. How? Because over the many years you felt that you get the maximum benefit from this person. So your mind started to feel closer. That is known as love and affection. Okay, this is the mechanism which we should not forget. Once you know this mechanism, then the question is, how do we feel, how can we see the benefit that we are getting from the neutral beings, right? Okay, let's say that, okay, you are all using pen, right? The pen, okay, let's say this pen. Okay, can anyone guess what's the price of this pen? Huh? Not 5. Please don't underestimate this. I'm sure it's like 20 or 25 rupees, right? Okay, if we think very seriously, this pen that we were saying, what Vivek is using, what Plush is using, the pens that we were saying, keep aside the very expensive ones, right? So these pens, believe it or not, don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted. Believe it or not, this pen, at the time of Buddha Shakyamuni, even the kings and queens, they did not have the privilege to use this pen. They have to use the feather. They have all the wealth of the kingdom. Yet, they did not have this pen. This pen, you can use it for hours and hours and hours and hours. The feather that they use is just for a few seconds. Again, they have to, dip it in the end. How come that they have the whole wealth? We don't even a fraction of the wealth these kings and queens have. Still, we have this privilege of using this pen. We don't have to, buy inks, dip it in. It's very tedious work. Today, if I give a choice, you prefer this pen, or I'll give you the pen used by the kings and queens in those days. Which will you have to use it, right? And then for sure you use this. You pick this up. Why you are getting this for like 25 rupees? Very cheap. How come that you're getting this very cheap? If Bill Gates is your father, if he is to make this pen just for you, minimum it will cost you how much? Tell me. Guess. If he is to make this pen just for you, minimum it will cost you billions of dollars. Because this plastic should come from the petroleum. Right? So all these petroleum machines should be there. Right? And then these are all made in the factory. At a factory, all the metals involved, metallurgy, then the mining, right? And these have to carry from this place to the factory, from the petroleum to the factory, those involved. How many people involved? This will minimum cost, if not trillion, for sure billions of dollars. And how come that we are getting this so cheap, just 25 rupees? Tell me, just very quickly tell me. How come that we are getting this very cheap? Anyone? Because of the mass production. Because of the mass production. Had it not been for the mass production, we cannot have the privilege of using this pen. Right? Because of mass production. What do you mean by mass production? What do you mean by mass production? If there's nobody who buys this, right? If there's nobody who buys this, do you think that factories will produce this like in millions? They're not producing millions. How come there is not the mass production is happening? Because there's a market there. What do you mean by market? The shops or the people who are buying, customers? Demand is there. Demand from the people is there. Who are these people? There are millions of people who are demanding for the same pen. Do you know these millions of people? Do you know these people? You don't know them. Are you angry with these people? You're not very angry with them. Are you, oh, these are my very loving mothers? No. You're very neutral. These people are neutral. It is because of these neutral people that you have the privilege of using this pen, you have the privilege of using your the dress now, the aircon, the light, even these, all these facilities that we use in this mic, all these things are because of this mass production. Right? So had it not been for these neutral people there, all the facilities that we're enjoying is just impossible. Even the specs that we put in now, the very fancy specs, right? Say in those days, what kind of specs? You have only one glass, right? And then with the ribbon, you have to tie it to here, right? That is a luxury one, right? Now we have all these fancy ones with Hawaii, right? All these fancy things are there. Progressive, right? So these are all because of the market. All these neutral people, you think very serious. You think very serious, and if you don't reflect on these points, it's fine. Okay, that's true, but then what's the point? This is not really how conventional people think, right? If you finally, who suffers? We suffer. How? We don't appreciate neutral people. If you don't appreciate the neutral people, our mind will not flow towards them. If our mind does not flow towards them, then the feeling of love and affection does not flow. If it is not happening, then you are not going to have experienced this infinite happiness. Finally, what is your goal? Don't forget. What's the agenda of your life? Be kind to yourself and be wisely kind to yourself. What do you mean by kind to yourself? Get away all the miseries which you shun and acquire the infinite happiness that you're seeking. How to get the infinite happiness? This is the only way to acquire the infinite happiness. This is the only way. If somebody produces a tablet or a pill, right? You eat it and you feel unconditional love towards all the billionaires will buy this. Can you imagine this? If somebody produces a pill, you eat it and you feel unconditional. This feeling is incredibly powerfully pleasant that everybody will get it. And yet, it's something which no pill can give. It is only through cultivation. And for the cultivation, this is the only way by which let your mind flow towards the neutral beings, let your mind flow towards the difficult people. Only then this incredible burst of the experience, incredible powerful experience of the happiness will come to you. Infinite happiness will come to you, right? Okay. And then, for example, let's say, take it very seriously. How many of you sometimes when you are not really in the metro, in train sometimes, right? Say you're in the train and it so happens that in that particular what we call compartment, you are the only person, or you and your family are the only ones, otherwise the rest is empty. How many of you have that experience once in a while? Oh, what is that experience like? Very pleasant. Now the whole compartment belongs to us. Huh? What's the feeling? Very extremely scary. Why scary? Anybody can break in and kill you and drop you. Anybody can. Not very scary. But if you bigger the compartment, it's very scary. I also had that experience. Very scary. And yet, in the metro, how many of you are scared? Okay, if you're at the back, take care of the back. Right, take care of the back you should do. Otherwise, you don't have to worry that anybody can come to drop me, come to strangle me. No. Because all these people around you, how come that you feel so comfortable that, okay, guaranteed that nobody will strangle me, right? Nobody will drop me. What made you this confidence? Tell me. Because of the people around you. You're getting it? People around you. They don't have to do anything. Simply because of the presence, you are rest assured that nobody will strangle you in public. Nobody will, say they kill you, rope you like this in public. Of course, the back, we have to get otherwise from the they will slit the back, right? That otherwise, okay, just think very seriously. So what we call as the VVIP people. They have the security personnel, security guards, right? What is the job of the security guards? Tell me. To protect their life. And for us, in the metro, in the aeroplane, in the bus, even in the public area, we feel so secure and protected, right? And what made us feel that, which is the VIP people, they have to feel only if they are surrounded by the security people. What made you feel, even without security people, still we feel that? What made us feel that? Because of the people around you. So they serve as your security guards. You're getting it? And are you paying them? It's for free. Where's the security guards, which are high? They're so expensive. And then you don't have the privacy. You do call it, you go into the toilet, they will also come to the toilet. Whereas in your case, it's very serious. Whereas in your case, right? Say when you want your private time in the restroom, these people don't follow you. Even if you ask them to please follow me, they will not follow you. And you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay, right? And then these security guards, the VIP person should make sure that they eat. If they don't eat, they become very frail. But in your case, you don't have to feed them. They'll feed them by themselves. It's amazing. You don't have to pay. It's free. You don't have to feed them. You don't have to worry about what will happen to you. You have to eat properly. You don't worry at all. You're getting it? Yet, you receive the maximum benefit, which even the VIP people, they don't get. Right? They don't have the freedom. Right? They want to go this way, they cannot go this way. In your case, you want to go anywhere you like, you can go. Right? This is amazing. Think it very seriously. This is amazing. It simply goes with these people that you are getting old. And do you know these people? Right? Chanicho? Right? Sadar Bazar? You've been there? You must, it's very crowded. What crowded? Right? See, if you're in a place where you are just by yourself, right, you will feel so scared. You're guaranteed that nobody will strangle you. It's because of these crowded people. Do you know that? It is because of them that you feel so safe. Right? Okay, so if you think like this, the food that we get, everything, and then we may say that, oh, because of say for example, the food, these things, the pen, I paid. We must have the experience. We must have the experience at least once in your life. Or you today, now this is very easy. You Google search, it's very easy, right? Where, say, people are trapped. You have the money. You have all the facilities, and suddenly you're trapped in a situation where your money doesn't work. Only the kindness of somebody else saved you. Otherwise, your money doesn't work. We have the feeling that I have the money, I paid, right? But the money doesn't really work. For example, if you go to some places, if you go to some places, suddenly you see that you're very hungry and there's no shops around, there's no restaurants nearby, right? You see that there's only one small, let's say what do you call that? The hawker, right? And selling some Maggi, and they are like, say, the 20 people, there are only 5 Maggis there, and each Maggi otherwise would cost you 25 rupees, now he can charge you 500 rupees. Even that 500, you're lucky if you get it, right? You have to make a request, please, 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 and it depends on his kindness, right? So he may charge you 500, so 1,000 rupees for this one Maggi, which would save your life, right? Otherwise you will get for 25 rupees. But here, you have the money in the bank, maybe lakhs and lakhs, crores and crores of rupees there, but now the money is not working. It is only the kindness of this person that is saving you. If you have such experience, say you are trapped in the flood, the mobiles do not work, you have no connection, and your mother, your father, your family members, they can easily send you, say, helicopters, so forth, but they cannot track you where you are, right? Only somebody who is close by you sees you and then saves you. This is only rescue. The rest, money, nothing works. If you have this experience, then you will see that, wow, it's the kindness of the neutral beings, that from every respect, I'm getting this benefit. You're getting it? For example, today, we can easily fly here and there with the very cheap air flight, the flights, and the bus, the cars, the trains. Just imagine, like, say, 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago, let's say 1,000 years ago, these facilities were not there, right? Okay, there are many cases where the child and the parents, they were separated by distance, and there's no such easy, say, transportation. So the parents are dying, and the child has to reach there, cannot reach in time. You're getting it? So all these things, why things are so easy now? Because of the innumerable people involved, and these people are known as the neutral beings, right? Okay, this one. Now the next part. I'm sure that you are waiting for the next part. What's the next part? Okay, so question will be a little later if, say, the Professor Rinpoche and Venerable Kabirji, if you two will give, let us have a little more time, 15 minutes extra.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, right? Then the point is that first let me finish this part, because I know that many people are waiting for this part. What is this part? Yeah. So therefore,
enemies.
Yes. Okay, the enemies. How the enemies are so kind to you, right? How the enemies are so kind to you. They are not enemies actually. Those people who see somebody as enemies, this we can very easily say call as an ordinary person. You see somebody else as an enemy, we call that person. Whoever sees somebody as an enemy, that person we call as ordinary person. Right? Somebody who is cognitively very matured and affectively very matured. Yesterday we discussed that, affective and cognitive. So cognitive, that drives you to, that decides what kind of affective thoughts should come to you. And with the habit, then the affective mind will become very effective. Okay, so for that matter, anybody who sees no enemy, right? The ordinary people will say that, oh, this is your enemy. For me, no, it's not my enemy, right? It's my very kind person, somebody who I love the most, because he or she is the one who gives me the maximum benefit which nobody can give me. Okay, so for this, we need a little bit of background. The background idea is that, okay, going back to this, the sound of a clap, right? The sound of a clap. This sound of a clap symbolizes the miseries and the pains that we go through. the pains, miseries, all unwanted things. And this thunderclap should necessarily come into being by the combination of the two hands. With a single hand, no sound. Right? So one hand symbolizes external factors, and the other hand symbolizes internal factors. You getting it? Internal factors. And external factors of the two hands is up to you. You can remove one hand, both hands, or the other hand, up to you. But the one hand which symbolizes external factors, can we think of eradicating all the external factors? Answer is no. External factors in terms of number is innumerable, it's limitless. Your lifespan is too short to think of working to get into the external factors. Even if you get into the external factors to some extent, then say that freedom from that particular external factor becomes another external factor, right? Say you're by yourself, you say that I'm very lonely, it's very boring. You're with other people, you say I have no privacy, right? So what should we do? Should we remove the people or should we bring the people? There's no third choice. In both cases, we have a problem. Which means the external factors, we cannot think of eradicating all the external factors. Be very realistic. Be very pragmatic. We can't expect to get rid of all the external factors. But good news is that this suffering, the sound of the miseries, is not only because of the one hand which symbolizes external factor. It is combination of two hands. Other hand is also the internal factors. You're getting it? Some people, they go to the other extreme, saying that everything is purely mental, your depression is purely mental. Okay, you have this, whatever problem that you have is purely mental. There's also one extreme. So problems are because of the two hands coming to being. One symbolizing external, one symbolizing internal. There are two factors involved. It's not purely mental, it's not purely physical, right? Both are involved. Don't forget it. The moment we become unrealistic, your problem will never come to an end. We cannot. There's no way by which we can bring an end to your problems. We should be very realistic. If you really want to get rid of problems, the first thing that we need to learn is how to be very realistic. Be very realistic. Okay, with this, two hands. Of the two hands, one symbolizes external factors. It's impossible for us to get into external factors all together. We can try to get it off to the best you can. Try, but don't expect that to get rid of all the external factors. But the good news is not only one hand. The other hand is also involved there. Symbolizing the internal factor. If you can get the internal factor, then the external factor, however strong that is, the sound stops. Finally, external factor is not the point. The point is the sound. What you want to stop the sound. As long as the sound is not there, your job is done. With the external factors, it doesn't matter, right? Okay, so the point is, okay, the next question would be, what is that internal factor? You're getting it? Internal factor. Okay, so now, with the analogy which I've given yesterday, of the freshly taken water from the Yamuna River, right? Freshly taken 1 glass of water from the Yamuna River. Okay, this water, how many want to drink it now? Freshly taken, which means not treated from the factories. Or how many want to drink it? Okay, some of you may not have any clue what Yamuna River is like. Is the fresh river coming from the Mount Kailash? No, right? Okay, it's a very dirty river next to what? Okay, very dirty water. So that water we don't want to drink, right? Okay, but this water and this water, all the water that we have, we are ready to drink. Why? The difference is that one is very clean and the other is not clean. You agree with me? Okay. Tell me. So this, which we already discussed yesterday, the humanity to water, the same water we can subject to the purification process, right? Reverse osmosis, ultrafiltration, and so forth. With these processes, the very clean water comes out. Okay, you want to drink it now? Yes, of course. This is known as bottled water, right? Very clean water. Tell me where this clean water, where did this clean water come from? From where? From one Kalash or from the dirty water itself? From the dirty water itself, right? From the dirty water itself. So, if it was in the dirty water, where was that? Every water that you pick up from the dirty side, we see that's dirty. There's no clean at all here. So this is where we need to know the true nature of the water and the adventitious nature of the water. What we see as dirty, this is the adventitious nature. It's not the true nature of the water. What's the true nature? Remove the dirt and you will see the true nature. What's the true nature? Purity. When you remove the dirt, what will come out? Very pure water comes out. You getting it? So our mind, luckily, however hopeless we may feel ourselves to be like, but our mind, it is not, the true nature of mind is not dirty. The true nature of mind forever, since eternally till today, since time immemorial till today, this mind, the true nature is so pure. True nature, in terms of true nature, your mind and the Buddha's mind, there's no difference. Your mind, Buddha's mind, Jesus Christ's mind, Ram, Krishna, or Prophet Muhammad, right? Bahula, Mahavir, no difference. The true nature of the mind. In terms of true nature, there's no difference. They're all just equally clean. Okay, just imagine the 1 kg diamond in the showroom, diamond showroom, and 1 kg diamond that somebody accidentally picks up from the sewage, from the very dirty, pungent smelling sewage, right? Which of the two diamonds is more expensive, tell me? The one from the showroom or one from the sewage? Huh? Okay, so those who say the one from the showroom is more expensive, which means that you have no idea what diamond is, right? You will, in most likelihood, you will throw this diamond. I'm not going to give an extreme example. Extreme example will be very extreme, you will throw this, right? Even though it's a diamond, you will throw it. But the diamond experts will not throw this. For the diamond experts, there's no difference whether it's from the showroom or from the very dirty, the garbage. No difference. Diamond expert will just pick it up, clean it up, wash it, clean it, and he or she will not sell this diamond even for 1 rupee less. The same price. Tell me, inside the diamond, this one picked up from the sewage, one picked up from the showroom, inside, which is cleaner? Same, there's no difference. Right? The true nature of your mind and the true nature of the Buddha's mind, there's no difference inside. The true nature, there's no difference. If the true nature, there's no difference, right? Enlightened beings, they have an incredible power, right? They're not affected even by the mad elephant. Mad elephant comes, and the Buddha sits right there, the mad elephant surrenders. But for us, the mad elephant will not surrender, will kill us. Right? How come that he has this power, he's not affected by external factors, and we are easily affected by external factors? How come? Because that external factors become active when there's an internal factor. So our internal factors are responsible for attracting to make the external factors active. So what are the internal factors? The metal stains. So you're getting it? The metal stains are responsible for making all the external factors very active to create problems for us. Okay, so our job is remove the internal factors. Once the internal factors are removed, then external factors will not be active at all for you, and the sound of the misery stop eternally. Okay, so the point is we have to, now to make it very quick, to remove the internal factors. What is important? To remove the internal factors. What is important? first you have to identify the internal factors. You getting it? First you have to identify the internal factors. Okay, say how many people, maybe there are people who are from the corporate, from the companies, and there's what is known as the quality control. What is quality control? Anyone? Huh? You manufacture so many things like this pen, and there should be somebody to make sure that the pen is actually working, right? There's any defect, no defect. Quality control should be there. Okay, and as the item, the merchandise object, as it is, for say, the quality control, for example, iPhone X, particularly the software, there's a problem, right? How cheap is it? Let's say the people who are involved to identify the mistakes inside, right? You can just pay like 20,000 rupees per year or per month. Very expensive, these people, right? People who have that intelligence to identify the mistakes there. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody can do it. Only extremely sharp people, they can do it, right? They can find these mistakes. So they have to be paid huge amount. There may be one or two people who are doing that. No, right? Okay, so the point is that only if you identify the mistakes, you can rectify them. Then this mobile becomes very special. You're getting it? Then the mobile will sell, right? And and then you can sell it the price. Other mobiles, they do not have this thing. They have this, they are not user friendly, right? So whereas this mobile is something so user friendly, and then the moment you touch this, keep this mobile for 1 day or 2 days, then another mobile, the person doesn't want to keep it. Then your mobile sells. So therefore, the person who does that, contribute that, quality control, you have to pay a lot to this person because this is so rare. A number of people can do this. You're getting it? Likewise, for us to remove this metal problem, metal defilements, internal factors, we need people to help you to identify the internal factors. You're getting it? We need experts to identify these internal factors. You're getting it? And then, for example, saying somebody says, Dorji, what are you doing? You're wasting the time of all these people, right? Then you become very angry, right? Okay, I know that I'm angry now, right? Okay, so the gross mistakes, to identify the gross mistakes is easy. Which is more difficult to identify, the gross mistakes or the subtle mistakes? Subtle mistakes are very difficult to identify. You're getting it? Okay, say how many of you know the Mike Tyson? What is his name? Mike Tyson. Okay, how many of you might know Mike Tyson? Who's Mike Tyson? Okay, not just a boxer, not just a professional. He's a legendary boxer, right? Don't just a boxer. Right? There are thousands of boxers. Don't just professional boxers. There are thousands of professional boxers. Who is he? World heavyweight, the legendary champion, not just a champion, right? Okay. Imagine that Mike Tyson, his mother is his coach. Do you think that he will become a world legendary boxer? His mother will never give a blow, right? Will just touch like this. With this, he will never become a world champion. Right? So there must be somebody to give a challenge to him. Only then he can grow. You're getting it? So therefore, we have to grow from a state where we are full of suffering to the state of perfection, of enlightenment. There, the journey is a very tedious journey. That journey is where you have to identify the mental defilements. So it involves such intricate work. As we go more and more, say deeper, as we remove the mental defilements more and more, when it comes to the subtle part, then it becomes very intricate. And there, you cannot identify these metal defilements. You're getting it? The metal stains. Without identifying the metal stains, you cannot remove the metal stains. If you cannot remove the metal stains, the external factors will continue to be active and you continue to have the miseries. You're getting it? For that matter, to remove even the subtle metal stains, you have to identify the metal stains. To identify the metal stains, who helps you to identify the metal stains? You say, okay, you come to Bodhicitta, right? Okay, I sacrificed my Saturday, I went to Bodhicitta, and then you go to mother. Where did you go? Right? Where did you go? My daughter, my son, where did you go? And, oh no, I went to Bodhicitta. What for? Oh, for this, teaching on compassion. Wonderful, many beta, beti, potacha. Very good, very good. So you feel something special, and very special, right? Very special. And then your neighbor who had a difficult time with your mother, your neighbor comes and suddenly slams the door and said that, what are you doing here? You have thrown garbage next to my door. And then people talking to your mother, right? Talking to everyone, because we are very strong. Strong. The neighbor dare not look at you, just trying to bully your mother. What is your response? Get out! Who are you? Who are you? When I say, who are you? Get out. What's the feeling? Anger. You're getting it? So this anger is a metal stain or it's a positive quality? It's a metal stain. Right? Did you identify the metal stain now? This metal stain, you cannot identify this when you're with your mother, when your mother says, acha beta, acha beti. This, you cannot identify this metal stain. Only when a neighbor comes and says, what a stupid thing that you did, look at how you made the door so dirty, right, with garbage. Then anger arises. So then you say, get out, how dare you come to my house, how dare you touch my mother, right? When you say this, in a way, your neighbor is telling you, look, you are still very weak. You are still, there's a metal stain there, you are still very weak. You went to Bodhicitta, what's the point of going to Bodhicitta? Where's compassion? What compassion did you learn? Then you identify the stains there. Okay, still, I have to work further. Then you will recite Gate, Gate, Paragate, which means that I have to work more. Right? You will work more. As you work more, how work more? Then, as the sun becomes subtler, you have to use more powerful detergents. You getting it? As the stains become subtler and subtler, you have to apply more and more powerful detergents. What is the most powerful detergent? The wisdom of emptiness. Then all these things will, come to play in your life. Okay. So with this, we see that your enemies are the ones who help you to identify the subtleness of the stain. Only if you identify the subtleness of the stains, you can get rid of them. Only if you get rid of them, of the two hands, one hand, internal hand will be gone rid of fully. When this gone rid of fully, the other hand is useless, the sound of all the miseries will stop for you. So who gives you the state of the fearlessness, state of the freedom from the miseries? Who gives you that? Only somebody who allows you to identify these subtle stains. Who is that person who allows you to identify the subtle stains? Your enemies. Your enemies are the ones who give you the eternal happiness. Perfect happiness. This even your mother cannot give. So therefore enemies are more kind than your mother. So the enemies, they are the ones who are the most kind. Seeing in this light, the enemies are no more your enemies. Enemies are the ones you feel that from him, from her, I get the maximum benefit of enlightenment, of freedom from suffering. I'm getting the maximum from him, from her, right? Your mind will just gush through to feel so close to that person, which otherwise you call as enemies. Now, when your mind goes too forcefully, very close to that person, you love the person so much. The person is no more your enemies. So in this world, you see that there's no enemies left for you. Near and dear ones, if the little beings are very affectionate, they insert this pen.
If you are to produce it just for yourself, your mother cannot pay this. The neutral beings, they can pay you hundreds and thousands of these pens, they can give you very easily. Right? So the neutral beings, they're more kind to your mother, and the elements are more kind than your mother and your neutral beings. So we see that everyone has been so kind to me from every respect. When you realize this, if you wholeheartedly meditate on this on a daily basis, and particularly when you go out, when you go in the metro, you see the people around you, okay, I feel so secure because of these people there. And then in the shops, in the restaurants, if there's one restaurant which is always remaining empty, vacant, nobody's going there, another restaurant which is so busy, crowded, you'll go into the crowded restaurant. Why? Crowded restaurant, local people, they know which restaurant is better, right? Which means that the food is healthy. Here, the food may not be so healthy, so many question marks. So even though you don't analyze so well, you can see how local people are behaving. From there, you can easily figure out that this is a better restaurant. You go there, you gotta get healthy food. So what makes you to get the healthy food there? Because of the local crowded people there. And crowded people, do you know them? They're the neutral people, you don't know them. And yet, because of them, then you're getting healthy food. So likewise, on practical ground, when you go out, whenever you interact with such situations, think of how the neutral people, they're so kind to you. Think of how what we call as enemies, they are so kind to you. The more we reflect like this, then slowly you see that deep inside there's a change happening within you. What change? Say, your mind will become very stable. That your mind is not going to be easily affected. Say, somebody hits you from the back like this, right? Somebody hits you like this. What is your reaction? What's your reaction? First, you will look at who that person is, right? If this person is your neighbor, with whom you don't go along so well, then how dare you touch me is very painful. Whereas you look at the person, and if it sees that it's your brother with whom you were separated for a whole 1 year, you loved your brother so much, and the brother he's like this is a very tender touch from your brother. It's the same thing, but how you interpret that is very different. You're getting it? So then you start to see that your mind will not be affected because of the love that you feel with your brother. So the hit does not affect you. Mentally, you are not agitated. Whereas when the feeling of love is not there, then anything, somebody just touches you like this, even that is a disaster. How dare you touch me? Right? Okay, so the point is that with this feeling of love and affection, your mind will become very stable, calm, and then your life becomes so easy. Your life becomes very easy. Unnecessary irritation, agitation, all will stop. Right? And then how do you know that your life will become easier? You have become evolved. Your progress is people around you. People, very stable people, they will come to be closer towards you more and more. When you see that people who don't expect anything from you, but they feel like so happy to be around you, which means that you are progressing, you are developing so much, right? You are really extracting the greatest meaning out of life. Okay, so there's another section which I'm not going to do now. This is already like so maybe 1 or 2 questions if you have 1 or 2 questions. Yes.
See, people are strangers and neutral people. Even if we don't love them, we still rather benefit from them. So why should we love them?
Okay, so basically the question is the neutral people and the enemies, different people. Neutral people. Say neutral people, say you get the benefit from them, but why should we love them?
Yeah.
Okay, this question. Okay, so for that this is okay. For this, Okay, is there anyone very quickly you like to give the answer to this question? The question is, okay, we know that we get the benefit from the dignity beings, so why should we have to love them? Anybody who wants to give a very quick answer, not too long lecture? Anyone?
I'm going to express gratitude.
So basically the idea is, okay, the answer is already given there. Okay, I'm going to move there. Okay, answer is already given. The thing is, the more we think about the benefit that we're getting, so we get a benefit, but we don't reflect on the benefit that we're getting. We see them, we take them for granted. When we take them for granted, so therefore I said that I paid. When you say I paid, you don't see this as a benefit that I'm getting. You see this as, what I get for what I paid. So when you don't see this as a benefit that you're getting, then you will not feel love. Whereas you feel this as a benefit that you're getting, automatically your mind will flow. It's not that you have to love the person. It's not that you have to love the person. Right? The thing is that your mind will automatically flow. The battery running. Okay, yes, thank you. Okay, maybe next question? Okay, yes, there.
Geshe, in terms of getting love from the friends,
Yes.
I think how we think is that friends, the way they have benefited me, not only they have given benefits, but also they had intention to benefit.
Yes.
So whereas neutral people and enemies don't have that intention.
Okay, this is okay, this is a very good question. Say the neutral people, they don't have the intention to benefit, particularly the enemies. They will be so happy if they come to know that you went to Bodhicitta to learn that enemies, they benefit you, right? They'll be so happy, they'll continue to abuse you, right? Okay, they don't have the intention, whereas your friends, your mother, father, and so forth, they have the intention, not only benefit, they have the intention to benefit. This is different. Okay, good question. Also, two things. One is, say, okay, say your mobile, before you buy this, it is there in the shop. You pick this up. You go for another one and finally you decide to buy this. Earlier, how did you keep it? You keep it like this. The moment you bought it, the moment you paid, right? Like this. Right? It's not there. Why? Because you see now this is going to benefit me. So this does not have the intention to benefit you. This mobile does not have the intention to benefit you. But how you treat this is very different now. You're getting it? And the mobile doesn't have any benefit, any effect. Right? And the mobile will not become worse, but for you. Right? I want you nice. So therefore, it's a human tendency. This is psyche. This is the psychology of the mind. That the moment you get the benefit, whether or not there's intention or not. For example, say one example, the very important the example given by Bodhisattva Shantideva is that there's a technical term known as nirvana. Enlightenment, nirvana. Nirvana means purity of mind. The nirvana per se does not have a mind. But we really cherish this nirvana. We have a tremendous sense of faith, respect, and affinity to nirvana. Nirvana does not have the intention to benefit you. The moment you have the nirvana, your misery is gone. So therefore you love it so much. So the feeling of the love and affection, this is the key, right? It is intention, intention to benefit you. This is a very beautiful state. But how our mind works is when you get the benefit, automatically your mind slows down. That is a love and affection. So what we are doing here is to cultivate love and affection. And on top of that, when you see the other person with the intention benefit, you add to it, build to it. Very good. Yes, over there.
Krishna, how can you feel compassion and love without the pain? Because
Okay.
when you see someone suffering, a loved one or a stranger, you may feel very sad, and that pain may not be of any use to them or you.
Okay, this is a very serious question. How can you continue to have the love and affection for the other person, yet not feel the pain, right? Say, otherwise what happens, the more you love the person, when the person is in a difficult situation, when you see the person, then there's the pain resonates within you. The pain resonates, right? And this pain is so acute. How can we have the pain removed, at the same time we continue to love the person, right? This is extremely wise the approach, right? Because the moment you have the pain, if the pain is so excruciating, you can collapse. The moment you collapse, you cannot have the other person. Only when the pain is not there, you continue to love. This love is going to be very affectionate and very effective in helping the other person. How to do that? So the point is, love and affection, you will have to go through this separate mechanism of building up the love and affection. Correspondingly, the pain is happening. For example, say you take let's say some medicines. You take some medicines. These medicines will make you, say the little bit of side effect is there, some fever is coming up, you become drowsy and so forth. So when fever comes up, again you take a little bit of paracetamol to quell it, right? So like that, the thing is that with the love and affection, as you build the love and affection, meditate on love and affection, then the tendency for us is the love and affection, the pain also builds up. When you see the other person to whom you love in problem, then you feel the pain. So pain also builds up. The more you love the person, when you see the person in a difficult situation, the more the pain that you feel. Okay, so love and affection is to be cultivated. The pain increases tendency. Then how do we need to work separately to get rid of this pain? To get rid of this pain, say there are several ways. The most refined one is to see the illusion-like nature of the pain. Even the pain that I'm seeing is also illusion-like. So it's to see the emptiness nature of the pain. So this is the most refined version one. Then the others are less effective than this, but then they are effective. Say for example, the pain of the separation, right? Pain of separation, when the person to whom you love so much, when the person going through terminal illness, then the pain of separation. This pain is so acute. So we think we think about the impermanence. Impermanence, the reality of impermanence, right? In 200 years from now, even the healthiest person today will not survive. Right? Even the person, for example, I remember once, I remember like this. I remember when I was in my 20s. In my monastery. So one elderly monk was going through his last part of his life. And then the elder monk, senior monk, from America, he came, and it so happened that the elderly monk was hospitalized, and this monk from America, he also came there, and then we took him there because they knew each other so well. Took him there. He consoled this person who was going through the last stages, and then after about 4 or 5 years, this monk who consoled, he passed away. Right? Which means that we have to console the people around him for his passing away. Right? So look, This person will be concerned about this. This person will be concerned about this. This person will be concerned. Then there's somebody will concern, me or my people one day. And after 200 years, everybody will be concerned by somebody. Today, who survived today, even the youngest child today, born today, right, will disappear after 200 years. These are the facts. The more we think about the facts of impermanence, then okay, it's a matter of time, everybody has to go. Then your pain will disappear. And yet, the most effective is to see the emptiness nature of the pain, to see the empty nature of all phenomena. This is the most effective. This meditation will enrich your compassion and yet undermine your pain. This is a beautiful practice. So all of us, we have that capacity to study this, practice this. We need to invest a little bit of our time and energy on this, and you will surely get it. For example, say the last 3 days, including today, His Holiness the Dalai is giving a teaching on this, how to see everything like a dream, like an illusion, right? So this we have to practice. Okay, yes, Adarsh?
So, expand love towards enemies in a situation where one can regularly contact with enemies. For example, say, devil who play music early in the morning.
Always creates problem on you. A neighbor who always creates problem on you, right? Okay, so how to practice love and affection towards somebody, towards a difficult person who always creates a problem. The more you love and the more you practice love and affection, the more the other person abuses your love and affection. How to practice this? Okay, this is a very important point. Bodhisattva, practicing love and affection, this is to be qualified not as love and affection, it should be qualified as skillful love and affection. Skillful love and affection. This is so important. Not just love and affection, skillful love and affection. Where other person, your love and affection flows, but the other person cannot take advantage of you. You getting it? This is something we have to learn. That skill must be acquired. So oftentimes, how do we go about doing that is with two things. One is maintain self-confidence. This is so important. Maintain self-confidence, one. Number two, if it is a regular encounter, not just once in a while is very easy, right? Regular encounter, then keep a little distance. Maintaining self-confidence, don't forget it, maintaining self-confidence. Oftentimes, the people, they abuse your compassion, people, they abuse you, seeing you as a weak person. Right? When you practice compassion, the person does not know that you are practicing compassion. The person thinks that you are soft and you are weak. So when you maintain self-confidence, the person sees you as very strong. Right? The person realizes you are not weak, you are very strong. So meanwhile, you keep a little distance, then the person senses that you are not only strong, you are smart. Oftentimes, how people abuse you or keep troubling you is for you. One, they see you as weak. Number two, they see you as the foolish person, a fool. I'm abusing you, still you don't know that you are being abused by me, right? So they see you as a fool or they see you as weak. So in such situation, you maintain self-confidence that tells the other person that you are strong, you are not the weak person. And then you keep a little distance. Is to tell the person that I'm not a fool. I know what I'm doing. You're acting smart. You're getting it? And meanwhile, maintain love and affection. Because if you lose love and affection, if you give in to anger, this is your greatest failure. The moment you give in to anger, this is the greatest failure. Anger is the immediate sign of your weakness. Anybody who's weak, only when you're weak, you'll display anger. When you see that you don't have any other resource, any other ways to resort to the problem, then the person will resort to aggression and anger. Whereas if you can deal with the situation very wisely, without anger, nobody wants to, when you hurt the other person also hurt you. Even though the person may not hurt you directly, the person will, at least give you a bad look. Right? That person, even a baby, can give you a bad look. Right? Nobody wants somebody to give you a bad look. So that way you are hurt. Nobody wants to see others giving you a bad look. Yet, the person knows that by showing anger, the person will not like being soft on. Instead, this is the last resort. If there are other resorts, other ways, they will surely look for the other ways. So the point is, one is maintain self-confidence to tell the other person that you are strong. Give a little distance to tell the other person that I'm not fool. You getting it? And then where necessary, when the other person is going through a very desperate situation, you show love and affection. Right? Show love and affection. Again, give a little distance. Then the person will realize that, oh, he's very smart, she's very smart, and not fool, and also very strong, and yet there's a deep love and affection. Okay, I'll give you one scenario, a real life story. There was a monastery, and in the monastery, the deputy abbot, and there was one monk. That monk was quite rebellious. Young monk who was really quite rebellious. And the deputy abbot, highly respected, and the young monk who was rebellious and always creating problem on the deputy the abbot. So two of them had a sour relationship. In the eyes of the deputy abbot, this monk was very rebellious and very not really, very good at all, and may not be feeling good about that monk. At one point, the deputy abbot, he was hospitalized for a very serious ailment. He was hospitalized. For that matter, the deputy abbot needed blood, right? And then the monks, the disciplinarian, he made an announcement to the monks, all the monks, the group of the monks from the monastery, that our deputy abbot, he is ill and we need people to donate blood. Anybody who likes to donate blood, please sign up. And this rebellious one was the one who signed up first. Right? Then, say the deputy abbot was rescued. He became well once more, became healthy, and then he asked the disciplinarian, right, who are the ones who donated blood. He was not expecting this rebellious one. And then he got the list, and in the list, the first one was the rebellious monk. Right? Then he started to cry. The deputy abbot started to cry. To feel that this rebellious monk, as deep inside, has such a pure heart, beautiful heart. You're getting it? So the point is that the relationship can be kept a little distance, but deep inside, you should not give up your love and affection. That is so important. For the good of the other person, more important for the good of your own happiness. This is so important. Okay, any present question? Okay, maybe the last question, Aditi.
The mother's love for all her children will be good and safe. The mother's love for all the children is safe.
Okay, so I'm happy that you are bringing this question up. So how I describe the unconditional love, and I said that even the mother's love may not be unconditional, right? But the best example is not the perfect example. Is the best example is the mother's love. This is why I said it. Mother's love towards all the children, are they same, identical? Yes, no. It depends on the mother. You're getting it? In some cases, among the, say, 4 children, the one who is being the best, most obedient, very bright, very competent, the mother loves the most with that child. In some cases, the one who is least competent, least loved by other people, the mother loves the child the most. It depends on the mother's thinking, right? It is, in some cases, same to all. In some cases, even unevenness is there. Unevenness where it depends. All depends on the mothers. The mothers are not all bodhisattvas. Yeah. Okay, good. So we'll stop here. We will do the end dedication prayer. Okay. So Professor Renugaji has been so okay. Most of should they be newcomers here for Altruistic Center? So Professor Renugaji have been running this center for the last 25 years, and how she has been working. So since my coming to Delhi and coming to, in fact, I know Professor Renugaji since even before my coming to Tibet House. Yeah. And then coming to Tibet House, coming to know about Altruistic Center and how the Altruistic Center is run, So not everything is free, right? Somebody has to make sure that this is running, and whatever is to be paid has to be, do all the fundraising, whatever, right? That people are continuously benefited from this center. So, for the last 25 years, with her full-fledged work there in university, I joined the university. She has been doing this well, and her personal practice involved. Then the running the center, making sure that everything is well taken care of, that people continue to receive benefit from the center. And from this angle, we see that we all should be feeling so grateful for the Professor Renugaji, and whenever she is there in Tibet House, there's one thing which, whenever we're meeting, the one thing is to request for, to come to appreciate the center, to give talks, teachings, so forth. So from there, I see that this is extremely, so we all should be feeling so grateful that there is somebody here who actually makes all these things happen. Professor Ranji is so kind. Just continue to be of such inspiration, blessing, and service to the Dharma. This is one thing. This is one thing. And then they say when Kabirji, he will surely scold me, or he will be very daring to tell you directly. Okay, so basically, for me to see Venerable Kabirji, it is always very heartwarming. And in the office, office staff, except for Sri Trunla, who's relatively new here. Otherwise, office staff, I always tell them that, so there's some program there, so how we can include Venerable Kabirji in the program, right? So and in fact, I personally would say that, like Tibet Islam and many people, they are more like, more like directly being introduced, I would say, in a very effective way, introduced to the very sophisticated philosophy by Venerable Kabirji. He will not accept it, I know that, right? But this is the reality that I'm seeing, and it is always so heartwarming. Just even to think of Venerable Kabirji is so heartwarming. So when I know that Venerable Kabirji is here, right? Say people come to Tibet House, they ask for where can we go for regular meditation places and so forth. When I think of Venerable Kabirji, is so easy for me. I feel so, it's a great heartwarming that I can very freely tell people that you must go there, and you're very lucky. If it so happens that when Kabirji is there, you're very lucky. You must meet him and seek the guidance and He will guide you in meditation, and you will be very lucky if you meet him. So from there again we see that Reverend Kabirji, and not only here Trishita Center, but they played a great role in the spread of the FPMT centers in the elsewhere, particularly say Root Institute in Bodh Gaya, right, the big space there. So it all started with Reverend Kabirji as the director of the center there. So started from the scratch. It's all because of the sheer love, dedication, devotion to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, to Lama Rinpoche, and to Lama Sopa Rinpoche, because it's sheer because of these things that he was putting all his energy and these things. So to have Reverend Kabirji once coming back here to Trishita, in fact, Delhi people are very fortunate to have Reverend Kabirji there. Okay, so this says, so from there we see that so why not we make the most of the presence of this Trishita, so welcoming, right? So welcoming with the Professor Renugaji, Venerable Kabirji there, and all the people who are involved here, and then immediately before that we have Venerable Samdhamma there, again, a great inspiration for so many people, and I think that through her, again, so many other people, they come to know about the Trishita Center. Finally, the center, the Trishita Tibet House, they are for the service of the humanity, for the service of the Dhamma, So this is what is actually happening. So this is amazing. So just see how to keep yourself connected with Trishita Center more in the future as well. Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And we hope you'll come back soon.
Sure. Yeah,
In fact, we request you.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, and all of you for taking this interest in this. How to be kind to yourself and to be wisely kind to yourself. Right? Okay. So this is these 2 points, and how to be wisely kind to yourself. There are 2 wise things to be done: to cultivate, to nurture your wisdom, to remove your fears, to nurture your unconditional love, to attract the maximum happiness. These are the 2 things, right? Okay, if you take this home, and then take this home and start with a promise that starting from home, I will minimize my, the creating problems in the family. In the first place, I will tell you that if you do create a little bit of problem in your family, right, a little bit of fight, the ground, in most cases, the ground is love and affection. And then there are superficial differences. On that basis, you find quarrels happen. But the ground is love and affection. If you don't believe in me, say for example, if you say shout at your mother, right? Ground is love and affection. If somebody else shouts at your mother, you'll be the first person to fight against that person. Right? This is indication that the ground is the mother. You love your mother so much. But oftentimes what happens is this love and affection, because it's always there, it is taken for granted, and then the superficial things, they take over. Right? Now, be a little bit more mindful that why am I shouting? Expecting that I will have more happiness. But real happiness is if I don't shout, I'll be happiness, because the mother will have a glow in her face coming. The father will have a glow in his face coming, right? And then the moment you enter the house, they will be elated with joy. You're getting it? When you see that they will be elated with joy, then this will be resonated in your cells, bodily cells. Your bodily cells will feel the joy there, right? And then your parents see that you are very joyous and very happy. They will again be even more happy, right? So this keeps on like a ripple effect. And then people around you, when they start entering your house, right, they will say something so warm, they'll feel that warm, right? Earlier, I don't need to feel this warm. Now this warmth is coming up. Right? Why it is this so? Because this daughter, this son, went to the center. Right? It's amazing, right? If that happens, so this will be wonderful. Okay, let's pray for that. Let's pray for that and let's make it happen, right? Take the first step. If they say the shouting at your father, mother, your brother, sister, and so forth, if it is happening at 80%, make it like 60%, if not 0%, right? Reduce it. Let us have something, and let us take steps. Gade, go, right? Take steps. Okay. If this much we can do, I'll be very happy. And this is the purpose of, purpose accomplished of all the people involved in this. And for this matter, today we have His Holiness the Dalai Lama is amazing, the figure, amazing being, and the incredibly great Bodhisattva. And that, say, today we may take for granted, but say guaranteed of 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, he will become an incredibly remembered great soul, right? Say, after 100 years, 500 years, he becomes such an epitome of peace, love, compassion on this earth. So we are very fortunate that we are breathing the same air as this great enlightened being. We are breathing the same air. We are treading on the same earth. Where he was walking, we are walking on the same, the earth. So that way we are so lucky. And let us pray that His Holiness lives long and that His wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. And let us also pray that all these great sources of the knowledge, the knowledge of the wisdom, the knowledge of the love, the source of the knowledge, like the incredible great monastic universities such as Gandham, Sera, Depom, and all these academic monastic universities of Sakya, Kagyu, Nyingma, Gelu, all these monasteries, may their activities thrive to serve the Dharma eternally. And let us also pray that all these great teachers such as His Holiness the Dalai Lama and so forth, and then the Lama Sopa Rinpoche, the founder of the FPMT Center, the Lama Sopa Rinpoche, one of the founders, two founders, he and his teacher, Lama Yeshe Rinpoche, and may Lama Sopa Rinpoche, let us pray that he lives long and that his wishes be fulfilled spontaneously, and the activities of the Dharma activities of the Trishul Center and all the PM centers, they flourish to benefit as many beings as possible. And that all other centers such as Trishul, likewise, their activities as well be flourished, and that all beings can be benefited of them. And let me personally dedicate that our meeting here today, today, that this have a fruition in terms of the implanting a seed of compassion, in terms of implanting the seed of wisdom to see things as illusion-like, so that your fears will go away altogether, and then implanting the seed of unconditional love, that the maximum infinite happiness is being drawn towards yourself, and that each one of you becomes such a reliable guide to lead all dear sentient beings to this ultimate happiness. May the teaching of the Buddha of the Bodhicitta, may the teaching of the Buddha of the Vishwamitra thrive in all the minds of dear sentient beings, present and future. Okay, beloved mind, let us recite some of these stanzas. Hare Rave Gorve Jinganzo Penda Dewa Manu Jumbene Chere Zima Tenzin Gazoye Shabe Sede Pardo Tenguroje Jambe Bawe Chedara Kemba Don Kundu Sambo Tean Dejendo Deda Gunge Jesu Damdul Yewa Deda Tamje Rabdu. Okay, I'll recite some of the prayers, dedication prayers in English. We'll all pray, let our mind flow in the meaning of these prayers, that it becomes your prayer actually. Okay,
Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. The path of union, emptiness, and compassion is loosely explained by the potato Buddha Dharma and the beings of the snowland. You are the lotus soul, the Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans and non-humans who hereby merit through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the rituals. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, we enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities, the stages, and the paths, and will attain the state of Vajratara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Ramajishri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of the Dependent origination in particular, even in the course of my life. Okay, thank you, one and all. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Geshe, just a token from the center, please.
Okay, from our side, Dr. Anoka, myself, Tushita, all of us, we pray for Geshe-la's health, long life, and Geshe-la's been flourishing the Dharma amazingly in so many places. May that continue. And at Tushita, as Professor says. And really, your benefits to beings are very manifest, Geshe-la. May that continue for a long, long time.
Thank you.
Long, long time. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.